What's up, everybody? It's Jimmy with Jimmy's Jeep Stead. This is the main reason I have a YouTube channel. So, let me grab the camera. I figured I'd go ahead and do a walk around for everybody. This is a 1995 Jeep Cherokee Sport. And as you all know, it's been in the shop since about late January, having 8-lug, 3/4 ton, and 1 ton axles put under it. So it's got a GM 14 bolt rear axle out of a 02 Chevrolet 2500 HD truck. The front axle we have decided is a 1976 Ford F-250 Highboy axle, and it's taken a lot of research to figure out what it came from so that we can source parts for it. But it's a low pinion, and to my knowledge they don't make a whole lot of them. Most people in the rock crawling world prefer a high pinion because they're stronger, but this is what I got a deal on. This is what we did. This is what we're going to use until we just can't use it no more. So, custom 3-link suspension. We had to extend the link arms on it. You can see 42s and link arms like to touch. So yeah, these are 42-inch. Where's the number? It's somewhere on there. Oh, here it is. Right here. So 14 wide, 42 and 15s. 15-inch bead locks. We took it out on a test trip on Saturday. It did okay. We had a couple of things that needed to be redone, so we fixed those issues, and then I run back out on Sunday and went to another off-road park and broke a couple of things. So we've got parts on order. Actually, the axle stub shaft just come in today. Today is Thursday. I'm hoping that everything else is in by Monday and we can go ahead and replace the front drive shaft, or not drive shaft, the front axle shaft U-joints. And it needs stub shaft bearings. You can see there's no U-joint there. It was not happy. It's really still not happy, but it's okay. So anyways, about the Jeep. It's a 1995 Cherokee, as I stated before. It's spent its life lifted since I've had it. It's got 200 and something, some odd thousand miles. Let's see. I don't know if you can see it. $219. Still runs great. It's got an inline 6 with an automatic and a 231 transfer case. It has the big chain kit in the transfer case with an SYE. It's got roughly about 8 inches of lift, and we're on 6-inch coil springs in the front at the moment with a 2-inch spacer right here. We had to add that after the tires and axles got put under it because it was way lower in the front. So the front has frame stiffeners. We've relocated the track bar right here that way 2 inches. So here's the other bolt right here. This is actually supposed to be the back bolt. So we just moved the whole bracket forward, welded this side, bolted that, and then welded this side. That was the only way we could get all that to clear. If you can see the arms. So here's your track bar. Here's all the steering. Everything was hitting the truss. You can see right there on the corner. where that bolt was just beating the truss. So that was our first problem that we found after the new running gear. It has full hydro steering, so we have a steering orbital that's bolted up to the factory location here. Right now it's got a PSC cylinder, but they sent the wrong one. This cylinder is for a hydro assist. So I've already bought another cylinder that's about 2.5 times that size. It's just got to be fabbed to fit the suspension or the steering arm. So hopefully that'll happen pretty soon. But right there is the orbital. When you break a steering line like I did, I broke this fitting right here, this 45. I broke that on Sunday, and it leaked about $60 worth of Royal Purple power steering fluid all over the ground into the mud, and I was dead in the water, could not steer. So if anybody is looking at getting full hydro steering, I highly suggest rethinking if you're going to drive it on and off trails and roads, stuff like that, because if you break that line, you're going to be dead in the water, just like I was. So we've got high steer, Heim joint steering, both sides, custom made track bar. It's got a, I wouldn't even consider it to be a truss, but it really is a truss over the chunk, which supports the third link. It's right here in the picture, so it goes straight back to the frame rail. It actually goes to that link arm right there. But 6-inch springs, 2-inch pucks. It's got rough country shocks in the front, and they are junk. I do not recommend rough country shocks or any other suspension part for that matter, but it's what the Jeep had on it from the 3-inch budget lift, and it's just kind of stayed there. So we've got Fox 2.0 16-inch air shocks for the front, but in order to run them, we have to cut the coil buckets out and do shock hoops in the front with a support bar between left and right. So I'm done spending money on it at the moment. I'm gonna hold off and just kind of start buying more parts for it, and then once we're ready, we'll go ahead and hopefully knock that out in 2 or 3 days. One of the coolest features that I like about this new build is, you see that bracket right there? Those are from Off-Road Anonymous. That's who I ordered those from. They are 1/4-inch thick steel, and they are made for strapping your rig to a trailer. So when I'm ready to go tie it down, I just go click right there, pull the ratchet to the front, couple of clicks, couple of ugga-duggas, and it's strapped. All 4 corners have those mounts. If anybody is putting their Jeep on a trailer, I highly suggest those. They are a game changer. Super easy, super quick, and super safe if you can weld them on. All right, so the front bumper is custom, one-off build by a guy named Chad Sims here in Ackworth, Georgia. I requested that it be able to pull and push trees anytime I wanted to do it. So the front hoop is made out of DOM. It's extremely strong. You can see the paint is wore off here. So back here, I don't know if you can see it in the picture, but right in here there's lots of scratches. See the scratches? Those are from steel cables. So anytime I want to pick something up off the ground, sorry, notifications are going off. Anytime I want to pick up something off the ground, I run my winch cable straight through the fair lead, up and over the top of this bar and pull down. And this acts as a wrecker boom, is what I like to call it. I've picked up a Jeep WJ body with this bumper with no problem. It's got 6 bolts through subframe on both sides. Plus now it's got frame stiffener, so it's even stronger. The winch plate right here, this is quarter plate. Most companies use 3/16. Everybody gives me crap about that Badlands winch. It's a 12,000 pound Badlands winch from Harbor Freight. That winch has been on this Jeep since day one of this bumper. The bumper was the first mod that I ever had custom made for it. So the bumper has about 4 years on it. And it's been an awesome bumper, awesome winch. The winch has in-cab remotes now, so I can control the winch cable from inside. Chad also built my hood vents. I don't know if you can see them. So they've got the Punisher inside the star, the rock star emblem with XJ cut out. They are functional. They go through into the inside. Let me set the camera down. See if I can set you guys down without you falling. So it's nothing high performance. The motor is completely bone stock other than a couple of mods. So I don't run AC. So I had to use this relocation kit, because if you go through water crossings, mud holes, stuff like that, you are gonna get your alternator wet. It's gonna fry that alternator. I moved it to the top since I don't have AC anyways. It didn't matter. I pulled the AC off, put that. You buy this kit right here, which is this, it's hard to see, this bracket right here. It bolts underneath there, and right there. Let's see. So you can see it there. So this bracket right here, it's a 2-piece kit that comes off of, I bought it off of eBay, and I think it was $20. It moves your alternator from the bottom to the top, keeps it from getting wet. So at the same time of doing axle swap, we needed a new battery, so I went ahead and went with the Optima yellow top. It seems to be doing awesome. I used the winch a couple of times on Friday and Saturday. Saturday I had to winch myself out, or no, not Friday, Saturday. So Saturday we went to Chocoloca, Alabama, and rode out there for the benefit ride for a friend of ours. And Sunday I went to 5313 Off-Road Park in Calhoun, Georgia. When I went to Calhoun, that's when I broke that steering fitting and I broke that U-joint. I had to winch myself about 180 degrees around so that I could aim myself back out to load on a trailer to get myself out with that broke steering line. And then next thing is, this is the 1650 PSI trail gear power steering pump. It has the Jeep Cherokee pulley for the serpentine setup, and there's no reservoir, so the reservoir sits here. I haven't figured out a place to mount this yet, so until I mount it somewhere permanent, it's just gonna hang out right there. It doesn't create a problem. I haven't had any kind of air bubble issues out of it yet, so yeah, that seems to be okay right where it's sitting. It doesn't leak, it doesn't pour fluid everywhere, so we're just gonna run it where it's sitting. Eventually I'm gonna end up taking the air box off, which means I'm gonna lose this hose right here, so I should be able to put the reservoir here, but I don't want to do anything with it yet, because when we decide to do the shock hoops, which is going to be in the next couple of months hopefully, when we do the shock hoops, everything under the hood is going to have to relocate, because the inner fenders have to come out. You have to cut them out. At least have to cut out this section right here, which is the coil bucket and the shock tower. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to dovetail the front, which means basically we're going to come in here and we're going to cut it somewhere around in here, and all of this section is going to have to disappear all the way to the front. So even this, and then the fenders, the fender is here. When the dovetail is done on the nose, the fender is going to be over here, and it's going to kind of go at an angle like that. So not quite sure exactly where we're going to put stuff yet. I want to wait to start relocating any of this stuff until we get to that point. I'm probably going to make my own cold air intake, if you will, out of PVC pipe, which is very common with Cherokee. community people. But oh yeah, and it has a 3-core aluminum radiator. It's not the normal radiator, the solid aluminum, and the radiator is about that wide. It comes all the way into, well, you can see how wide it is looking through that hole. Factory radiators only cover to about here, from here to here. They're really thin. That makes a big difference. That, and also the electric fan for the AC condenser, I now use that as a cooling fan because it pulls fluid in front of this, which is my power steering cooler. Actually, that's the transmission cooler. The power steering cooler, I guess that's the power steering over there. So it's behind a fan and this one's behind a fan. No big deal. Anyways, I didn't even remember that was even supposed to be put in there till just now. Like I said, I had it at a shop. The other guy was doing the work. But that's all the mods under the hood. It's got light bars. It's got these fancy pods. If anybody knows Goose, Charles Gillum, with the 2-door XJ, he's the one that makes these. They are light pods inside of a factory XJ headlight bucket, plug and play. So he built those for me. Extended brake lines in the front. We've got custom drive shafts front and rear. The biggest thing that I get lots of comments about is the cage. So the Jeep is super dirty inside. I don't ever clean this thing, but that's the cage for right now. The plan is to come in here and we're going to do X's in the middle of this halo here and this back one, and maybe do some kind of tube work on the rear section over the fuel cell. I'll show you guys that in a minute, but not completely sure yet. But it's got harness bars front and rear, so I've got 5-point harnesses. The lap crotch strap, if you will, is hooked here on the seatbelt bolt right here, which I never use this ever. So there's my other strap. It stays under the seat because I don't ever use it. I use my 4 points and that's it. But walking into the rear, we've got leaf springs. We have shock relocation, or not shock. We have shackle relocation blocks in the rear, and it has air shocks in the rear. I mangled my back bumper so my back hatch doesn't open now. So this is the back of the cage, and we haven't had time to paint it yet, but air shocks go through the floor. The vent line for the fuel cell goes through the floor. Let's move this jack real quick. Can't take away from the cool character of that fuel cell. That fuel cell is awesome. I think I like it just as much as I like the cage. It looks good. So we had to comp cut the rear. That's the section. Maybe get a better view on this side. So we cut all this out. I stuck the plastic back in it just to keep most of the mud from coming in until we have a chance to get up in there and re-metal all that, because this side is not bad. We thought that we had it cut where it needed to be cut to. Oh, look, I bent that too. Amazing what you find out. Look, you're not even supposed to be able to put your finger right there. I can stick my finger to my knuckle. That's not supposed to be there. That's supposed to go right here. I guess I tore that up on Sunday too. So anyways, we thought we had it cut to the right spot and we kind of misjudged. That's mangled. You can see the dents. But it's a fun Jeep. I've had nothing but a blast in it. That and a lot of cuss words. But anyways, we're gonna cut this. Trying to hold you straight on. I'm gonna cut this down and around and follow that body line and just cut it at this body line right here. And then I'm going to use a piece of 3/16 plate and do a 1/4 rub rail right here and just get a one rub rail bent on both ends for that section and the other side. That'll strengthen this area up and it'll push stuff away from the window. I'm really surprised that I still have a back 1/4 glass, but it's still there, and until it breaks I'm going to keep riding. When it breaks I may cut the back off. We don't know yet, but that's my Jeep walk around for right now. Like I said, it's dirty. I have trail doors for it. They aren't on it at the moment because I just pulled it up out of the backyard so everybody could see. The rocker panel has seen much better days. I know a lot of guys up north have lots of rust. I have rock problems. So anytime I see a rock, I want to crawl it, and then it doesn't get real happy about it, and it kind of abuses my Jeep. So I've got 1/4 wall 2x6 tube. We're going to come in here and cut all this out, put 2x6 rock sliders in it, and then they're going to be gusseted to the frame rail. I have the center section of the frame stiffeners already. And just kind of gather parts, wait till you get everything together, and then tackle it. Until then, just get out and have fun. The Jeep is awesome. It performs really well until it breaks a U-joint. But even then, I broke the front U-joint, and then it put me at 3-wheel drive, and I was 3-wheel drive for the whole rest of the day and didn't really have a lot of issues unless I was trying to crawl a rock. So I don't know what in the world that did that for. The camera jumped out of the tripod. So yeah, anyways, the Jeep did really good, even being 3-wheel drive. And the rear has got a anti-wrap bar and a new pinion guard on the 14 bolt. Let me go to the other side, I'll show you. So zero wrap in the springs now. So there's the anti-wrap bar. Some people call it a traction bar, but it goes all the way up here. It has a custom built cross member in the middle. And then we've got this pinion guard at the bottom of the 14 bolt. Let's see. Should be able to get a good idea of that cross member now. So you can see it now. For whatever reason, my finger keeps hitting the button. But it starts here, goes over, up, back down, and across, and it's welded to the frame. You can see the transfer case, all that good stuff. So yeah, that's that. That's my Jeep. There's those brackets again. That's the rear. One on both sides. Those things are awesome. I used to hate strapping my Jeep. We'd have to use axle straps and go around the axle, hook them, and then the hooks would fall out. Not anymore. They just snap right in there and go. It don't take but about 3 minutes to strap this Jeep down and be on the road. So I haven't measured wheelbase yet, but I know their rear is stretched backwards about somewhere between 6 and 8 inches, and the front has been pushed forward about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. So haven't pulled a tape measure on it to see what the wheelbase is yet, but I know that it did really well the other day on Sunday. And I've got a new tail light to go there, but I'm not really sure what I'm going to do about tail lights yet. I may wait and use some kind of a LED sealed tail light, tractor trailer style light. Not really sure what I'm going to do yet, but it's a work in progress. When I brought it out to the benefit ride on Saturday, everybody that I ride with knows how much of a job this has been for me, because we started an axle swap at the beginning of this virus, and let me tell you, finding parts at the beginning of that shutdown was almost impossible. The Jeep sat for almost a month because we couldn't get steel anywhere to build the link arms and the drive shafts. So I'm excited to have it back. I want to do more to it. I already have parts to do more stuff to it, but it's almost the end of summer. Today is July 2nd. Yes, today is 2nd. Today's Thursday the 2nd. So we've got July and August. When we get into September, it'll start cooling down here in Georgia, and we'll be able to get out and start camping and riding for the weekend. So I'm excited about that. I'm gonna wait to do any more big mods until we get out there and get that ride time, get the seat time, whatever you want to call it. And once we get that seat time, we can get a couple of the bugs worked out and fix those things before we start tearing up more stuff to fabricate. There's a couple of clearance issues still, but for the main part, everything seems to be working really good. We found the one issue was the track bar. Track bar got moved forward 2 inches, and now the front end is full float. It moves up and down like it's supposed to. And I think we're gonna go ahead and send it to the exhaust shop, have a different exhaust put on it, get the exhaust stop sounding like a farm tractor, and yeah, ride it, beat it to death, fix it, do it again. New U-joints for the front drive or axle shafts will be here hopefully tomorrow. If they come in, I'll start rebuilding the front axles, rebuild the wheel bearings. Wheel bearings and ball joints both need to be replaced. We found out the hard way that this axle has been abused very bad. We pulled the diff cover off. When we did, the diff was full of water, nothing but water. So ring gear, pinion, all that stuff, which that stuff was trash anyways. We already knew it was gonna have to be re-geared. So it's got 538 gears now. I forgot to say that. That was a big expense on this Jeep project. I spent more on the gears than I did on the Jeep itself. So once we get the front axles put together and beefed up, chromoly shafts in the front, we should be golden to do the riding that we're gonna do. Like I said, we do a lot of riding at Chocoloca, Alabama. A lot of riding there. We do a lot of riding at 5313, which is off-road park, but it's more of a mud park, buggy, razor type park. But he's starting to add a lot of rock obstacles and hill climbs and stuff, so it's still a fun time, but you do get dirty. I think I washed about 8 pounds of Georgia red clay off of it the other day, which is light compared to normal rides over there. It hadn't rained over there in a couple of days, and it was still muddy. But we're gonna do some AOP this year, hopefully do Windrock in the next couple of weeks in Tennessee. We're gonna try to do a couple of off-road parks that we haven't been to and get outside of our comfort zone and just get out and explore. Like I said, this Jeep is a trail Jeep. It's not made for the road. I didn't have any intentions on building it to be a driver on the pavement. So could I put a tag back on it? Yeah, I could go back and put a tag on it today. Tag it, insure it. I can just insure it as an off-road vehicle through my auto insurance, and it doesn't require emissions anymore. We're in emissions county, but being a 95, this is the first year that they didn't require them. So we're good there. It doesn't have a converter under it, so they'd never pass it anyways. We don't have all the stipulations that up north does, which is a plus. We don't have to run mud flaps and all that crap in order to be street legal. So on 42s, I could go and put a tag on it, and I probably will put a tag on it, but it's going to be later next year. once everything else is done and I'm ready to go do the smaller rides where I can do pavement benefit rides, stuff like that, I'll drop it off in a parking lot off the trailer and then drive it in the parade, stuff like that. But with full hydro steering, Georgia state law, it's kind of touchy whether or not you're supposed to have it. People say yes, people say no. So we'll just play it by ear. If we're riding for a back to blue ride, something like that, and need to get it off the trailer, we're gonna support our law enforcement. We'll take that chance. Normally they're not gonna mess with you, especially when you're out there supporting what they do and putting their life on the line. So anyways, that's that. This is Tank the Cherokee. If you want to look me up, I'm on TikTok, Tank_the_Cherokee. Also on Instagram, same handle. So check me out on Instagram, check me out on TikTok. We do all kinds of videos of the Jeep on TikTok. He's kind of iconic. Everybody likes him, and he's big. So this is the Jeep, right? And I don't know if Shadow does any different, but there's my roof. So my head is here. And I'm 5'10". So it's a big old Jeep. It's fun so far. I needed to run bigger axles to quit tearing stuff up so much on 37s. So why not go to 42s, right? You can't lose with 42s. That's always my hashtag. So we got a deal on them 42s. They are not a permanent tire. We're actually going to run to a sticky tire. If a deal comes up, we'll buy them. But we wanted to get them under the Jeep and rolling. The Jeep moves on its own power now, so these tires have done exactly what I wanted them for, which was to let it move around on its own power. Now we can start adding to it, changing things as we go, and go from there. I'm just excited to have the Jeep back. This is a huge excitement for me, because if anybody knows and rides with me at all, me and Tank are always in the woods, at least twice a month. Me and both of my boys absolutely love being out in the woods in the Jeep. So we haven't had that since January. So I had a blast this past weekend being in the Jeep and being able to ride both days, which was unexpected. I thought it was going to be Saturday only, but we had a couple of hiccups. We had to go back and fix them Sunday morning, and I decided, why not? We're 30 minutes from the off-road park. Let's go test it again and see. So we're gonna have a couple more test times. Hopefully next weekend we'll be able to go somewhere, test again, and do a little bit more riding. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Like I said, this is the main reason that I created my YouTube account, was because this is my Jeep, Jimmy's Jeepstead. I like the homestead life. I like gardening. I like getting outside and growing stuff and how-to videos. I like to build stuff. So that's how I came up with the name. That's where the Jeepstead stuff come from. And my Jeep is #1 for this channel. Gardening comes in second, but this year I'm just kind of burned out. This whole thing going on in the world has just kind of put a burden on all kinds of items in the stores, stuff like that. So it's definitely been a game changer. It's been an eye-opener. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm gonna get off this rant. Hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell at the side, because if you don't, you won't see this beautiful face and you won't see this Jeep pop up in your news feed. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe. See you next time.